Welcome back! Today we're going to go over Varka, the newest character that's coming to Genshin Impact, who's a main DPS that makes use of the swirl and Hexerai mechanics. He had a pretty rough beta, but it seems like now he's in a better place. So let's go over how you can get the most out of him, at least for now. To build Varka, you'll want to use the new Hexerai set, but you can also use Shiminawa's Reminiscence. You'll want to use an attack Sands, an attack Goblet, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet depending on which you need to balance out more. The substats you'll want to prioritize are crit and attack. For his stats, you'll want to reach 2500 to 3000 attack, 70 to 80 crit rate, and 200 or more crit damage. His burst is a DPS loss, so you won't really need energy recharge. If you want to use his burst every rotation, you can get around 130% energy recharge. For his weapon, his best by quite a bit is his signature, but if you don't have or want that, you can also use Marika's signature, Ito's signature weapon, Wolf's Gravestone, and for 4-star weapons, Serpent Spine, Tidal Shadow, or Black Cliff Slasher. His signature, like I said before, is a big upgrade. It's a priority above most other vertical investments for him, because it gives about a 30% increase for the team damage, and a 40% increase for his damage. And it's definitely worth getting if you want him to be useful and feel good in endgame content. For his talents, you'll want to crown his skill, since that's where the majority of his damage comes from. And you can level up his burst as much as you want, or not at all if you don't really care. And for the normal attacks, you don't need to level those up at all. For his Constellations, like I said before, getting his weapon is the priority even over his Constellations. And then after that, getting Venti or Durin is also very good. Durin is more of a priority than Venti, and Varka's Constellations arguably are more important than Venti, so it depends, but you'll want to get his weapon and then invest in his teammates well before you want to get his Constellations. And then once you have a decent team for him, you can go for his C2, and then he's definitely more competitive with the other DPSs that are out. For his rotation, after using your supports, skill and burst as needed, you'll use Varka's skill, normal attack 5 times, and then use his skill or charge attack, and then normal attack 5 times again, and then use his skill or charge attack again, and then normal attack about 2 times. Varka's team building is a little more complicated than other characters, kinda like Chaska, but a little more restrictive, because he can make use of swirlable elements, so you can mix and match elements. He does, however, unlike Chaska, you can put a bunch of elements with her, and she ideally is the only animo. Varka wants 1 other animo with him, and 2 characters of a swirlable element, so Hydro, Cryo, Pyro, Electro. Both of those characters that are not animo have to be the same element. So when you're team building with these elements, you'll ideally want to, since he counts as a Hexerai character, and you need 2 of those characters to get the buff, which helps a lot. Again, like, his numbers aren't the highest, so you want to get all the buffs you can. So you'll want to get another character. It can be an animo character or one of the other element characters that's a Hexerai. You'll want at least 1 other one besides Varka, because he counts as 1. You can have more than 2, but 2 is the minimum to get the buff. It doesn't matter how many you have after that. Good animo teammates for him. The best are Venti, Kazuha, Sucrose. Venti and Sucrose are Hexerai characters, so then you won't have to worry about the other elements needing the Hexerai mark. Other animo characters you can use are Farzan, Elanyan, Jean for healing if you need that, and Aoife as well. So for the other elements, because it is a swirl team technically, you'll want characters from one of the swirlable elements that has off-field elemental application, and ideally does something else as well, like sustain. So like I said before, Pyro seems like his best team because, again, Durin is a new character and he's pretty strong. And if Nicole is going to be a good slot for this team, then it'll probably be pretty good. But we don't know about Nicole yet, so let's just assume for now Nicole doesn't exist. So some teammates you can use for Pyro. Durin's the best choice, but also Bennett. Durin, Bennett, Venti is the ideal combo right now. But aside from that, you can also use Toma, Shangling, or Mavuika, again, for that off-field application. For Hydro, some good teammates are Farina, Yelan, Siegeween, and Mona is also a Hexerai character, so she can be used there. If you don't have an Animo Hexerai, she's a good choice for Hydro team. For Cryo, characters like Escoffier, Shenhe, Diona, Chongyun are good choices. Unfortunately, there's no Hexerai character that's Cryo, so in that team you'll want to use the second Animo slot as the Hexerai character. For Electro, the Hexerai character that is Electro is Fischl. So again, if you don't have the Animo Hexerai character, you can put Fischl there. And you can also use Iansan, Kujosara, or Kuki. So now, since I a little bit avoided it before, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Varka's numbers through the beta were kind of underwhelming, a little bit Dia PTSD, but they're definitely better now, and there is kind of a lot of speculation if they will get close to the Lunar DPS levels, or at least close to Skark levels, if Nicole is a good addition to this team. But again, she's not out. She's not going to be out the patch after Varka, supposedly. So we'll have to wait quite a while for that, which is interesting. In theory, if she is made for Varka's Pyro team, will she be replacing? Probably our GOAT Bennett. Because Venti recently got buffed, and Durin is a new character. They're not going to want to replace them that quickly. And if she is a 5-star Bennett, that sounds pretty broken. Unless they limit her with some Hexerai thing, which is possible. She is a witch, so she probably is Hexerai. So if they somehow limit her to that, I could see that being a thing. But if she's that broken, she might be worth pulling even if you don't play Varka, because you could use her in another team. Unless she's forced to be in like a swirl team, we don't know. She could be super broken but very restrictive. Who knows? We don't know, that's the problem. So don't bet your marbles on it. Just think about Varka now with who he has now. He's not Dia, he's better than that. He's not the strongest, he's not the Lunar DPSs, but it's not the end of the world. And if you really love him, you can vertically invest in him if you're able. But if you can't, again, best way to go is to get his weapon and get some teammates that you can use. And worst comes to worst, he's just fun to use because you can switch around some elements. Let's take a look at where he is right now in terms of DPS rankings before he is released. So here I have a graph that I made. I tried to take an average of what I was seeing of the DPSs. And Varka's calcs are from the Genshin scientist, so definitely check out his channel because it's very useful. But keep in mind here, most of these characters are C0. Some of them have R1, and I'm going to be using Varka's R1 because the numbers are higher. With his R1, he's around the 120, 90 to 120 range, depending on the element. Pyro, Electro, and Cryo are the best. He's around 90, 120. Without his R1, he's 60 to 80 range, so it is a big drop off. So very, very worth it in my opinion. He ranks depending kind of around the Nuvolette, a little bit above Nuvolette, under Varesa and Skirk level, which isn't terrible. It's above Chaska, but Chaska is very variable, so it does depend. Yeah, he's around Arlecchino, Nuvolette, maybe a little over that level, so that's, considering where he was in the beginning of the beta, which is around Dia levels, that's pretty good. Don't know why it was so hard fought, but I don't know. But yeah, it's not the end of the world, and if Nicole makes him that much better, he could get up into the 140s or more. So, we'll see. Hope and pray. I hope she's broken either way, because I kind of want to use her somewhere else. I do like Swirl, so regardless of Varka, I'd at least play Venti Swirl, even if it's not the best, and I'd try to throw her in there. Overall, this is not terrible for him, but we'll see how he stacks up. Maybe towards the end of the 6.0 patches. See how good he is by then. So with that, that's Varka. Meta aside, if you like him, you should pull for him and build him. So who are you gonna pull? And who are you excited for in the future? I know I'm excited for Nicole. That's all for now.